Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian.
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Who are you, Blues fans? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
BlueNote Fan Report. Hey, everybody, how you doing? This is Guy, and this is the BlueNote Fan Report. This is the show for Jason Nichols. He messaged me earlier today. Ooh, are you getting any noise? Might be my hearing aids giving me some crap. Messaged me earlier today while I was out messing around, doing some stuff today, getting out of the house, believe it or not, which is a good thing. And said that he needed a show. So I don't know why I like him so much, but I do. So I thought I'd come on and talk about what's going on. I think tomorrow is the most important game of the season. I don't think this game can be understated. I really don't. When you look at how this season has gone and where the Blues are in the standings right this moment and where the Predators are, right? This is the game that I think it gives you that cushion that it really sets it that as long as you're playing decent hockey, you're going to make the playoffs. Now, I thought 95 points, and I still think 95 points. Well, that's 35 points away, right? And you have 29 games to go, right? 29 games, 30 games is 60 points. So you're looking at 58 points. You need 35 of 58 points. I think that is, I mean, to me, the numbers have gone from, I don't know, to, yeah, I think so. Uh-oh, you guys are in fucking trouble, Jason. You're in trouble. This is your fault, Jason. Hi, Lance.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
I was just talking. So right now, the Blues have 29 games left to go, which is 58 points, right? And they're at 60, so they need 35 to make the playoffs. That because I'm still saying 95 is it. And I think most people agree with me on that number, that 95 is the number, right? 35 divided by 58, that's 60. That's 60%. That's a decent. I think that's doable. And tomorrow, I said this earlier, Lance. I think tomorrow is the most important game of the season. Right now, I really do. You look at the Blues have one game in hand and 4 points on Nashville, and Nashville got spanked. I mean, spanked yesterday. I mean, they got embarrassed. I lost them. They got embarrassed 8-2. 8-2. That's not even funny. Right? Just get in. You back?
Yeah, my camera's acting funky again.
Okay. Well, But what I was saying is, I really think that this is it. This is the most important game. Oh, it was 9-2. They got spanked 9-2 yesterday. They got beat so bad that Dallas put Wedgwood in just because Ottinger wasn't facing enough shots. All right? Just to give Wedgwood work. He wasn't hurt. They just gave Wedgwood a period. Right? Here you go, Wedgwood. They can't score. They can't score on anybody, so you get some confidence building. And then we go against a team that really should have spanked us.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in all actuality, Edmonton is probably the most talented. They might not be the best team, but they're the most talented team in the league.
They're the most talented offensive-wise, defensive-wise, and goaltender now.
Goaltending, they're weak.
Goaltending, Skinner's a starter, but he's not a top echelon starter.
No, I mean, he's barely a starter. Skinner's barely a starter.
And Nashville's not been playing well. They played really well for a stretch there, when the season began and a little bit into the season, but they're 3-6-1 in their last 10, and the Blues are 8-2. I hate games when the Blues are playing well like this and they go against a team that's playing bad, because I've seen it happen a lot of times when a bad team will come in and the Blues will just fall apart.
Yeah, but see that usually that's like when you see that, that's a team in the East or it's a team in the Pacific, right? The difference here is now you're talking about a team in division. Hopefully Lance will pop back on. The difference here, Lance, is that normally when you see that, you're talking about a team in the East or a team in the Pacific. The difference is here, you're talking about a team in a divisional game against a rival, right? I mean, I think for the Blues, Nashville is a rival. And not only that, this is O'Reilly, second game back or third game back? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Since he's been gone, I don't think I know, it might be the second.
I think it's the second.
We played Nashville earlier in the year, and I know we lost to them.
Yep.
Right? I'm pretty sure we lost to Nashville earlier in the year, like 8-2 or something. We got beat pretty bad by them, if I remember right. Right? Am I wrong there? Somebody help me out.
They definitely beat us.
Huh?
They definitely beat us, and it wasn't a close game.
Yeah. It might have been Riley's. O'Reilly's only been back one or two times. Right? I'm trying to bring up the schedule now. I'm trying to bring everything up, so give me a quick moment.
Take your time.
Let's see here.
As an estate planning attorney, most people that would come to my office were looking to create a will.
I'm getting there.
Many couldn't afford the fees.
There we go. Okay, now I got it to where I can do something. We played them. I want to say it was in November. I
think it was November or December.
No, not November. Maybe it was October. Maybe it was early in our. I know we played them. Dun. I know we played them. I know it. I looked at it earlier. I know we played them, so I'm looking now. Calgary. Okay, yeah, we lost 8-3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was in our building. Could be wrong.
I think it was.
Let me do a game center real quick and bring it up. Yeah, it was in our building.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat us. And I think that was O'Reilly's first game back. Yeah. That gets goal in return to St. Louis. So this will be his second time back. And especially after, the shellacking we got, 8-3, we got goals by Bushnevich, Thomas, and Neighbors, but they just had goals. They were up 3-1 after one, and it was 7-2 after two. Right, ended up being 8-3, but again, this game was back when the Blues were not playing good hockey. Right. I don't know what the record was at that point, but the Blues just were not playing good hockey, and within within 3 weeks they would make a coaching change. So actually, I mean, that was kind of like in the middle of like a winning streak too. They had beat the Ducks, beat Arizona, lost to the Preds at home, beat Chicago away, lost the Wild, and then beat Buffalo at home. But that 500 hockey they were playing just wasn't that good. I seen Robert being back. I seen him. Bobby Furcoat I guess he changed his name again. Jason says that's how Edmonton felt last night, losing 6-3, just like 9-2. You could see the defeat on Edmonton players as they were shut down. I don't know about that. I really don't know about that, Jason. Sometimes I love you, Jason. Sometimes your ass talks pretty loud. I hope he's not mad at me for that. I was telling you guys, listen to Jake Neighbors talked about how he texted Binnington last night and said, I can't believe your saves. You were giving us a chance to win. I heard what he had said at the post game comments. And he talked about, Binnington being really great and then saving us, but we can't rely on that. And I actually think that's a bad mindset. I think that's the mindset you need to go on, because if you go in that mindset that, you know what, he's going to save us more often than not, you can play a little more aggressive, right? The Grant Fuhrer style of goalkeeping. Yeah, I might give up 4 goals, but you're going to score 6, and then I'm not going to let any more in, right? I mean, isn't that what I had him on my show? It's kind of what he said. You've talked to him numerous times.
When you have a goalie that's hot or can make that big save in a tight game, that does mean a lot to the players. It means they can go and do what they need to do. You don't want to consciously, rely on a guy and think, well, we can just play okay and he'll bail us out. You definitely want to give the guy credit and you want to support him, but you also can't let him get 50 shots on goal. And, even if he allows 2, you lose 2-1. You've got to make it's all about balance. And you need your goalie to make the great saves when the game is close to keep the game, from the other team from coming back. And that's what I've always judged goalies on. I don't care if they're, if their goals against was 3.0, but if that goalie in a lot of games can keep you in a game or make that big save, he's more important to me than a guy who is a great goalie, but he lets in a soft one every game.
Yeah. Husso. Right? Husso. Mm-hmm. Everyone talked about how Husso was doing so great. Husso kept he would almost every game let in a goal in the first 5 shots.
If Husso stays in that Minnesota series, the Blues don't win it.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Right? I absolutely agree with that. And then when he came in for the Colorado series, I mean, he was a sieve. Mm-hmm. Right? The team they didn't have a goalie to win that series. Mm-hmm. They had the players to win that series. They didn't have a goalie to win that series. And that's the difference. Actually, I think it was Jason Nichols that made that comment about us showing the NHL how to beat the Oilers. And I don't think we did. I don't think we caught the Oilers. We caught the Oilers like Toronto caught us.
And Jason, every team knows the blueprint to beat a team. It's just executing it. Every team knows how you beat teams like Toronto and like Edmonton. You slow down their top players. You're aggressive on the puck. You play the puck like you always do in any other game. You don't get oohs and ahs because they're good players. It's a simple recipe, and all the other 31 teams know it. It's just some teams execute it better, and some teams just play their game. And
well, you think about this, McDavid. How many points McDavid have last night?
2.
Assisted on all 3 goals.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Assisted on all 3 goals. He had 3 points. Did it matter? Did it matter? No, it did not. They scored 8 goals and McDavid had 6 assists. Yeah, that was impressive. Oilers are about to slump, in my opinion. I understand that. I don't think they're going to slump. I mean, they fell back to earth a little. You win 16 in a row, you're going to start. You're going to it's going to feel like a slump.
Well, look at the Blues when they won 11 in a row.
Yeah.
The next 7 or 8 games, they played well, but they didn't
Yeah.
win 8 in a row. I think they went 5-3.
Yeah, something like that. They're the important thing. You look at the Blues right now, and I'm not 100% sure what the records, but I think there's 7 games above 500. Right?
I think they're playing 588 or around 600.
566.
Yeah.
Right? They're 29 and 22. So that's 7 games above 500. No, 29, 22, and 2. 60 points. 566 hockey. Right? If you play 566 hockey, you might make the playoffs. That 566 on an 82 game schedule, I think the 82 is 164 points. You're looking at about 90 points, I think. Let me do that just to make sure.
And I don't, if the Blues continue to play well, they don't have to win every game, but if they continue to play well and they're in every game, they're better than the Coyotes. They're better than the Kings. They're better than Minnesota, and they're better than Nashville. And as long as you can have a better record than those guys, you're going to get in the playoffs.
If they play what they're playing now, that's 92.8 points, 93 points.
Yeah, I think I said earlier 93 to 95 I thought would make it.
Yeah. That's why tomorrow is so freaking important. You beat the Preds, who you have a game in hand. You spread that out to 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the team right behind them is the Predators at 55.
Minnesota
at 55 evened up on you. And then let me do a quick wild card to make sure I'm not missing somebody else on the back end.
The Kings and Blues
are Kraken at 56, but they're also, you have a game in hand on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then the Wild, then the Flames at you have a game in hand on them.
Mm-hmm.
I just think right now that you beat this Predator team. I originally said you needed 8 of the 10 points. And I want to stand by that, but I'm going, if you get 6, I think you're fine. Because I think I'm looking at the Oilers game going, there's no way they beat this team. There's no way in hell. Right? There's no way in hell this team that's won 16 games in a row and doing all of this. Well, okay. For the Predator game, is very important you win in regulation. You have to keep them. You cannot give them a point. That is important. I will agree with you on that one, E. Right? Binnington or Hoffer can steal a series. I don't think Hoffer can. I think Binnington can. Oh, wow. There's a good thing. Love the Blues. Watching for years, but I've never had the insight like I've heard on this podcast. Can you briefly explain how many teams from each division go into the wild card? I honestly don't know. Okay, we can cover the playoffs, right? We can cover that. So the way the playoffs work, you have 4 divisions. Each division has 8 teams. The top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs. Then the next 2 teams, regardless of division, with the best winning percentage or best points, make the playoffs. Those are your wild card 1, wild card 2.
Basically, it's 6 teams per conference and then 2 wild cards in each conference. Not
the next 2 best teams. So yeah. You're either going to get 4 teams or 5 teams from. You're either going to get a playoff of 14, the top 4 teams, or one of the top 3, top 5. That's going to be like that, right? See, Jason. I mean, you're so excited about just getting in. Just getting in is great, but you're not winning. I don't see us beating either team. If we're in the wild card, I don't see us winning a series.
I think if the Blues play like they have over the last 8 to 10 games, they could beat somebody in the first round. But I think that other team is going to have to really have a bad series, or at least a couple of nights off where they didn't play well. But hey, and Guy and I might be wrong, but if they do win one series, I don't see them winning the second one. I just don't. I think.
Well, here you go. Of the teams at the top right now, right? Vancouver more than likely is going to win. Pardon me. Vancouver could very likely win the Pacific. However, Edmonton is sitting there with 5 games at 10 points. But even then, if they get those 10 points, that's 73, and they're still, 80 back. They're still behind by 7 points. So they're not even with the 5 games at hand, they're not within the margin on the Canucks. In the Central, right now, Dallas has the best with the Jets having some games in hand. I could see the Jets are within the margin. If it's the Jets and Canucks, I would think, yes, we'd have a chance at beating one of those 2 teams in a 7-game series. If it's the Avalanche, Oilers, or Knights, I'm not sure about that. The Stars are my toss-up. The Stars are the one where that goes 7 no matter what. Right? I can't be negative. It's a curse. First round is 7 games. 7 games. In the NHL started doing this a long time ago. In fact, they were the only one for a long time. The NBA finally matched up. But it's 4 7-game series. 7-game series. Wait, doesn't it matter when a team catches fire like the Blues have if they can maintain?
Yeah, but here's the problem. That Blues team in the second half of 2019 was the best team in the league after that second half of the season. They are nowhere near the best team in the league in the second half of the season. They played well.
No, not even close.
Not even close. It's like people in Toronto are saying Toronto's the best team in the league, but they're like 11th overall. How can you be 11th overall in the league and be the best team in the league?
Yeah, no, I don't see that. David says him too. I love you all, but barring injury, you're going to be more surprised than you are now. Jason, look, I love your enthusiasm. I do, bud. Absolutely love your enthusiasm. But when you're in a 7-game series, regular season doesn't matter. Regular season doesn't matter at all. And 2019, this is the thing. This is the thing about 2000. There's a couple of things about 2019 I don't think a lot of people understand. First of all, you have to look at the fact that this team went 4 years, 52 years, something like that, to get a cup. I mean, it went to the Stanley Cup in the first 3 seasons, got swept in all 3 series, right? We're with the exception of 1 series, we're badly beaten in almost every series. And then turns around and goes all these years, only goes to 3 Western Conference Finals, only make it to the 3rd round 3 times in the next 40-odd years. And then you get to 2019. Well, you go back to 2016. Let's compare teams. 2016 to 2019. What was the better team? Who was the better team? 2016 to 2019.
Talent-wise?
Talent-wise, yeah.
I think 2016.
Yeah, the 2015-16 team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? The only position that I think that the 2019 team was more talented than them was Binnington. He was the better goalie of all the goalies combined. Right? You had
Allen and
Elliott and Allen.
Yep.
Right? And then you had Binnington and Allen. And you look at that, and for me, Binnington is just he's heads and shoulders above those goalies. Right? As good as Elliott was, as good as Allen was during the playoffs. The Binnington's just but you look at every other position, and I'm going to tell you I think the 16 team was better.
They had a deeper team. Their third and fourth lines were better.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, and they just ended up. They caught what happened with them was catching the Sharks. Was as happy as I was they played the Sharks, I'm also disappointed because that's what caught them. The Sharks, been in the league 25 years at that point, hadn't been to 26 years, hadn't been to a Western Conference final. I think it was first or second time they'd ever been to one, never been to the finals. That was their lightning in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next year, 16, 17, that was a hell of a team. And they ran into another team in the Predators in the exact, and I think that was the Predators' first time in the third round. I could be wrong on that.
What?
Right?
The Blues beat Minnesota because of Jake Allen, and they played the Predators and just fell apart. They didn't have anything left.
Well, the Preds went and swept Chicago, and Chicago was the number 1 seed.
Yep.
And we were the number 2 seed. Here's something. That happened one other time. One other time, Chicago was the number 1 seed. Blues were number 2 seed. The bottom team, the lowest team, beat them and swept them both. I think they swept them both, or 5 games, 6 games. Swept at least one of them. I think. I might be wrong I might be a little wrong. Can you tell me when that happened and who it was?
Well, it was the Blackhawks.
No, it was not.
Could have swore that team that Belfour was on that they beat handily was the number 1 seed.
The Blackhawks were the number 1 seed. Yes, that's what I said. The Blackhawks were number 1 seed. Blues were number 2 seed. There was a team. The Preds beat the number 1 seed, beat the number 2 seed. Right? That happened before, where the Blackhawks were the number 1 seed, the Blues were the number 2 seed, and a team came in and surprised them both.
Well, the Blues did that against the Blackhawks in Dallas that year, that 1 year in 2015-16, because the Blues beat the Blackhawks and then Dallas.
Yeah, but I think we were the higher seed because Game 7 was in St. Louis. We were the higher seed. They were number 3. We were number 1.
Well,
all I know, we were the number 2 seed.
All I know is everybody said both teams were better teams in Dallas and Chicago.
Yeah. No, they weren't. We were the better team than Chicago. Well, we were the higher seed than Chicago because Game 7. I remember this. Game 7, when Backes scored that goal, was in St. Louis. Excuse me. I think what you're missing what I'm trying to get at. I'll just go and tell it. I want to say the year, and I could be wrong. I want to say the year was it was 88. 88, because 87 the Islanders won, or Edmonton won. I want to. No, it was it? No, no.
Wasn't 88 because 88
it was
88 was
92.
a Monday Night Miracle. Yeah.
Let me go back. It was 92, and I think that's the year that Pittsburgh wins their first cup. Is that right?
They won a cup in 92 or 93, I think.
Yeah, 92, and they won that cup against who?
I don't remember.
The Minnesota Wild. The Wild beat the Blackhawks and then turned around and beat us. And I think they may have swept the Blackhawks. And they beat us in 6.
The Wild weren't a team in 92.
Or not the Wild, the North Stars.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The North Stars. That's what I meant. The North Stars. Sorry. The North Stars.
All right.
I think you knew what I was talking about.
I think so.
Yeah, see, all you guys in St. Louis snowed in should be watching the show. It should have more than 10 people watching. You got nothing else to do. Can't go anywhere. Hi, Andrea. How you doing? Appreciate you watching the show with us. I've known your dad for a very, very, very long time. He's known me since I was a snot-nosed kid, a freshman in high school. Where else we at? I just think that right now tomorrow, I can't. To me, am I wrong? Am I putting too much importance on tomorrow's game, or am I right?
Well, it's very important because they're right behind you in the standings, and you want to separate those teams from you at this time of the year. That when it comes down to the end of the year, you're not having to struggle and win every single game. Because they're right there with you. You want to be able to beat the teams behind you and the teams right in front of you.
I mean, that's what they're doing. They beat the Kings the other day. I think that was in overtime, though. They got the Jets coming up. They got the Oilers coming up. Their team just ahead of them, even though they're in the Pacific Division. They're right there. They're playing good enough hockey. There's one stat that scares me. Two stats. There's two stats that scare me more than anything else. Of this team, if you're looking at the stats, if you're going and looking at the regular stats, right? What stats scare you for this Blues team?
I can't think of any that really scare me.
There's a couple that scare me.
What's that?
First one is goal differential.
Yeah, this team isn't going to score a ton of goals every night.
But it's been a minus.
Yeah.
For a very long time. It's -5 now. It could get into the positive numbers. But if you go into the playoffs, if you make the playoffs with a negative number, which is possible, right? That scares me. I'm now, for the next numbers, I'm going to ask our viewing public, tell me what stats right now for the Blues scare you before we tell you ours or before I tell you mine. I have two more that scare me, that are heavily concerned to me. And I don't think it's what it may or may not be what you're thinking. Have a ticket in a box, drinking food. Next time, James, I get home, we got to go to a game. Actually, I might start talking about something today. We'll go a little bit. We had one of our best second periods against a team that won 16 in a row. Lost to one, scoring 8. Our power play is on fire. We have 12 shorties. I think we have 11 shorties. You better worry about the Blues, NHL. I'm not. Can
I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
I keep seeing comments made, and Jason, I love you, man, and I'm glad that you're all behind the Blues. Somebody had stated the other day that they don't want Kyrou in the corners. That Kyrou needs to go in the corners, and because he doesn't, that he's afraid of people. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I've had people disagree with me, but from my experience, if you are afraid of a player or afraid of a team, you will never beat that team. Do you have to take him seriously? Yes. Do you have to take a guy that likes to muck it in the corner? Yeah, you've got to figure out a way to take him out of his game. But guys, if you're an NHL hockey player and you fear somebody literally every time you go on the ice, you don't belong in the NHL. You really don't.
The thing with Kyrou's game, he's not. Look, not every, and this is Berube. This is the issue with Berube, right? Prior to Berube coming, Tarasenko was not a mucker. He never mucked in the corners. Berube takes over, and all of a sudden, Tarasenko's mucking in the corners, and it messed his game up.
And his goals go down.
It messed his game up heavily. Brett Hull. No one ever complained about Brett Hull not going in the corners. Brett Hull didn't hit anybody, and nobody hit Brett Hull because we had the enforcer back then. If somebody hit Hull, Kelly Chase or Tony Twist with them fists of steel, we're coming after him.
And I don't ever remember anybody complaining about Adam Oates being the great center he was and the assist man he was. I don't ever remember anywhere he played the fans saying, oh, man, I wish Adam Oates would get in the corners and muck it up. He needs to be more physical. The problem with the Blues winning the Cup with a coach like Berube is that every player has to be a 200-foot player. Every player on the team has to. And they have to be great at it. They have to put that first. You can't do that. Not every – it's like Scotty Bowman always said, and he said it in his books. You can't make players
Yep, absolutely. And this is why Berube. If you want to know why Berube's not here, that's why. Right? John Tortorella said it. I have changed my coaching style more this season than I ever have. And I've also learned to understand that this game is different than what I know how to coach.
Well, yeah, because every year before this year, you would see sound bites from him almost every night. Every night he would go off on something. You don't see that much anymore.
He's figured it out. And Bannister's figured it out. Right? Bannister does not, he doesn't end on a sour note. Right? Think about this. I have you ever seen Aerosmith in concert?
No, I've seen almost everybody else, but not them.
Okay. If you see Aerosmith in concert, normally they put on a hell of a show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw them in concert here in Hawaii, in Honolulu, putting on a show they didn't want to put on. Okay? They did not want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can tell it
was obvious from the get-go. They didn't even play their number one song. They didn't even play it. Okay? As good as they are, they ended on a sour note. Just walked off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It put a sour taste in my mouth for Aerosmith. As much as I love Aerosmith, I can't listen to them anymore like I used to.
Yeah. Do you know who did that for me? I got front row seats to see Smashing Pumpkins at the Fox in St. Louis back in 2009 or 10. And I got a meet and greet ahead of time. So I got to meet Billy, their lead singer. And the guy before told all 15 of us, if you ask him a question, and it's a stupid question, like how do you pick your clothes out? What jackets do you like to wear? What's your favorite food? He will get up and walk out. So I got to ask a question. And I said, Billy, how has your writing style changed from when you first started writing songs up until now? And is the process that much differently? And if not, tell us why. And if so, tell us how it's changed. He looked at that guy and he goes, good question. And then the girl after me, you know what she asked? Are you going to get some toasted raviolis in St. Louis while you're here? He got up and left.
I don't think that, for me, I don't think that was a bad question.
No, but the guy warned us ahead of time. He doesn't put up with questions like that. And you know what he did? He was so out of it. I mean, they were okay, but not as good as I've heard they were.
Yeah.
They didn't do an encore. He walked off the stage in the last song and the band played for 3 more minutes and he never come back out.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. They get, some of them get temperamental. But if you leave on a sour note, that's what people remember.
That's right.
Nothing else matters.
That's right.
But Ruby consistently ended all of his press conferences on a negative. Bannister, the game after Toronto, he barely spoke, right? Be honest, I don't think he spoke to the media. I didn't see any media comments from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't see any. The next day, after they had the day off and in a practice, that's when he addressed it. And he basically said, we had a bad game. Lance, any famous hockey players in your contact list? Well, I know one.
Yeah, I've got some.
I know one right off the bat.
Yeah. Grant Fuhr.
Right.
Grant Fuhr.
Yeah.
Ron Duguay of the Rangers. Roman Vopat of the Blues. And there's probably 3 or 4 more.
For me, I guess the most famous one that's in my contact list would have to be Gary Younger. Right? That would have to be Gary
Most
Younger.
famous Blue or the most famous player?
Most famous player.
No, Grant Fuhr is much more.
He's not in my contact list.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
He might be.
Now, are they talking about people we have emails to or people that we just have their phone numbers or?
Yeah.
Because that's a little different.
I know I have him on Twitter, right? I know I can PM him on Twitter, And I know, and I've PM'd him on Facebook, but I don't think I actually have his phone number.
I have his cell phone and I have his wife's cell phone.
I have Gary Unger. I have Gary Unger's number.
Yeah.
Right. You know that. You
Yeah.
know that. You know I'm not bullshitting you on that.
No. I know that. I've that's
Gary. Gary has called me at different. I'll tell you straight up. I'll tell you a quick little story. Well, here you go, Rajo Triplet. Who are you guys, and when did you start this podcast Fed stream? Do you all live in St. Louis too? I started this podcast, the BlueNote Fan Report, in 2018, beginning right around the game against Calgary. It was the game against Calgary, 2018. It was the first show I did. At that point, this was not a live show. It was a recorded show. It was, I called it the pregame rant. For a while, I called it the A View from Afar.
Yep.
The problem was that didn't make sense, because if I was going to write a column for somebody, that made sense. But if I was a podcast, it didn't. Then it shifted to, someone suggested call it the Hawaii Blues Fan Show.
Yep.
I did. I like that, but I felt, when I called it the Hawaii Blues Fan Show, the BlueNote Fan Report was one of the titles that I had thought, right? And I went back and thought that it would be a good way. I shifted from the Hawaii Blues Fan Show to the BlueNote Fan Report. And as far as where we live, I do not live in St. Louis. I am from St. Louis, born and raised, went to high school there. David AC can tell you, he knew all about me. I currently live in Hawaii. I'm hoping that within the next near future that I'm able to relocate back to St. Louis.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. You go.
I started my podcast as a video podcast on YouTube back in 2015. Moved it to an audio podcast in 2016. Haven't been up to task with it recently because I've just got a lot of other things, some health issues and other things, but I am updating the website. I am doing some other things, and I will start having, people on the show like Guy and other, hockey players that I know and people around the league that will actually come on, because I'm going to tell you what, even the relationship I have with some of these people, they get heck for coming on somebody like my podcast. They're the head of the media of their teams, especially in Canada. They'll deal with podcasts up there, but down here, it's really hard to get access. And if a guy comes on my podcast or Guy's podcast and won't come on, somebody that's more famous or more popular in the hockey world, it can really hurt him. And I definitely respect that. Guy and I met through another podcast him and I were both on. And that was back in 2017 or 2018.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Guy and I were agreeing on something, and the other people in the podcast were basically treating us like we were idiots.
Yeah.
And it's kind of went on from there. I've met Guy in person 2 or 3 times. He's come here to St. Louis, and I live in Illinois, about 15 minutes from St. Louis, so I'm not too far from there.
Right. Raja, so the way our show works tonight, it's kind of, I don't normally do off nights. I come on game days about a half hour. I do a pregame show, half hour before the game. Go over some stats, tell you what I think. And then during the game, I continually talk about the game. You have a chance during the game to chat with me and to say your thoughts and yell at the TV with me during the game. So that's how my podcast works. It's a live reaction show. That's who we are. Share us to your friends. Let them know. Great to have you here. Thank you for showing up. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, I did go to Cleveland ROTC. David, I did have T-shirts made up at one time. They're not pink. They weren't very good. However, unfortunately, I will not do T-shirts again unless I can get someone else to. The logistics of it bit me in the ass. There are people that ordered stuff from me that never got it.
Yep.
And it's on me, and it really hurts. I've lost friends over it.
Yep.
So I've got to be really, really careful before I ever do something like that again.
I've got T-shirts, and when I figure out, I haven't looked up the website in a long time. I've sold a few, and I'll give you guys the website some other time. But I've sold a couple of them. I've sold coffee mugs. I've sold. Let me show you this right here. This is your mouse pad.
Yeah.
That's like $8, and it's a huge mouse pad. They also make them that'll fit your whole desk. So, when I get back on that and do a few things, I'll let everybody know what that is. But Guy and I have been good friends for a while. We don't always agree. In the past, we've had some very heated discussions, but it doesn't mean we hate each other. It's not.
Nope.
It's not done out of hate. It's just done because we're so passionate.
Yeah. No, that's just. No, you know what, Jason? This thing with the T-shirts and that was on me. I blew that. I admit it. I heavily admit it. It's on me. I still owe these people money. And I'm unconnected to them, and it sucks. Well, if I ever get back and get my show up to where it's running, I would do something like that. But
go ahead and
say again?
Get a hold of me. You can reach. I was going to tell him to go ahead and get a hold of me, and I'll look at his contact and pricing. I'll give my email address out. It's Lance, LANCED, as in David, at droppodcast.com. So that's 2 P's in the Drop Podcast.
Right. You know what, Jason? We'll just let it be. Leave it alone. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, because I will tell people this: if they ever come on the show and they're still mad at Guy about that, I do know that Guy does take that personally, and he is upset about it. It's not like he put you guys out there high and dry. It was not done intentionally.
Yeah. No. David says he'll message you.
All right. Thanks, David.
Yeah. No. It was. There was a lot of moving pieces to this.
Yeah,
and I don't think people understood the moving pieces. I didn't understand the moving pieces.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
It wasn't. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. I will say that. Luckily, the person that I got the T-shirt through is a very good friend, and dropped what I owed him because of things that had happened, and really just made it good. So. No, it's you know what? I earned when someone's upset at me, for most cases I've earned it. Not always, but in some cases I've earned it. And when it comes to that me trying to do the store, I earned it. And then the other problem was I had a partner in my website who was not the most upstanding individual.
Yeah, I will tell you guys, Guy has been through a lot with people on his podcast, people he's trusted that have done some things, and I'm not going to go into who it is and what they've done, but Guy has been through a lot to be able to get where he is to bring the podcast, to people. And I will tell you from behind the scenes, whether it's a video podcast, an audio podcast, it's not easy. A lot of people say, well, you just have a podcast, even if you know these players and you know these people in the front office. Anybody can do a podcast. Well, anybody can. But it's not as easy as it looks.
Right. Yeah. Jason says he left because he made a cardinal sin, didn't get the truth from the horse's mouth. Yeah. Well, it happens, but and I'm not going to go. I don't want to go any more into it.
No.
It just for tomorrow. We're coming up to the 50-minute mark, so I'm not going to do because earlier game tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Early game tomorrow. It's 4:00 your time, noon my time. So 11:30 pregame show.
They have it at 3:00 my time.
3?
Yep, I'm almost positive 3 or 3:30.
Let me double check.
Because I know the front office of the league has just changed several times start times for the Blues.
Yeah, but I don't think this was one of them that changed. Well,
thanks, David, for the nice comment.
It is 4:00 Central Time.
All right.
So noon my time. All right. I'm looking right at the schedule on the website.
Okay.
Right. And that's noon my time. So that means an 11:30 pregame show for us.
3:30 my time Central.
Yep. New to the podcast, but enjoy it. Never knew this much about the Blues my whole life. I have followed the Blues, I mean, on or off since probably 74, 75, somewhere around there, 6, 7 years old. I remember being 10, 11, 12 years old and having a 12-inch black and white TV
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
having the little one earplug
Yep.
in it.
Did it have that? Did it have that good
game.
old pull? Did it have that good old pull-out antenna on it?
Yeah,
Did you pull it? Yeah.
the rabbit ear antenna, yeah. Or the little circular antenna.
Yeah.
And it had the 2 channel changers.
Yep.
The one that was
UHF,
2,
VHF,
3, all the way around, and the U on it. When you put it on you went up to the UHF.
Yep.
And that's where. So when I remember watching, maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, in the mid 70s, hockey was not on KPLR channel 11; it was on channel 30.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
On channel 30, and it was tape delayed.
Yep.
It was not live. They were not live. You would get the away games tape delayed, so you get them the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They'd show them the next day. I don't think they were live. And then in the mid 70s, late 70s, it shifted to KPLR channel 11, early 80s, somewhere around there. So I remember them being on channel 11 and watching there. I figured out what you were doing there, David.
Yep.
I will say this. David knows me very well. I did. I was in Chicago when that happened, and I actually liked it. My wife at the time did not understand hockey at all, and she could not watch a game on TV. Right? And that tracer puck, especially along the boards, really started helping out. The problem with that is that the puck itself was electronic. It was a big, heavy, that puck. It was actually a little heavier than regulation. And the guys had a lot of trouble playing with that puck. They hated that puck. Right? And the goalies hated it. Right?
Well, you remember when they started showing players' names that came out there on the line right above on the top of the screen?
Yeah.
And they said eventually that was going to be on the screen all the time. And I looked at my wife and I said, I understand putting it on there when players come out to face off so you know who's out there. But if they have that up there constantly with people changing lines and coming in and out, people won't watch the game because it's too distracting.
Well, okay, they don't change the boards out while the players are playing. So what's happened is the boards that you're seeing on TV are not the boards that you see in the arena. They have the board. It's like an electronic overlay. It's basically
like a high-end green screen that they can put any ad on.
Green screen effect that they can add on. There's just something new. If you kind of watch TV, sometimes you see like what's going on NHL Network right now with the game. You can see how the boards, when they're down low, not away, it's the original boards.
Yep.
When they use the farther away camera,
yep.
That's what now you're seeing the electronic boards, right? Right. Yeah. Well, ugly kid. Yeah, I will give you that. She did raise an ugly kid when it comes to you, bud. I don't like the ads now on TV. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, let's put it this way. So I have been. The Battlehawks are out, and there's a guy who currently claims, and I don't know for sure, that he's a representative of the new head coach, and he's trying to sell a game, weekly show, 1 hour show. They want the amount they want. I could never sell that amount in advertising.
No,
never. If I could sell that amount in advertising, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But, And here's the thing, they're calling it a 1 hour show. It's not, because you've got to sell the advertising. So it's only about 45 minutes. And they want, basically, they want 40 grand for 12 weeks, for 12 shows.
No.
Right? That's almost impossible to sell. For me, to sell that much advertisement would never happen. I don't get enough eyes. I would never be able to sell that. Right? Oh, okay. That's just already. The motion or ad switch during play bugs me and distracts me.
Yeah, I don't like it either, Chris.
I've learned how to look through it.
Yeah, I just think that, because I would understand if there was a total stoppage, but there's times they'll go to it right before face-off. The face-off continues, and 10, 15 seconds in, the ad's still up. That's what I don't like about it. But I think Chris and I are old hockey guys where we want everything to be like it used to.
I don't mind the electronic boards. I do think so. So you see it in soccer, right? They have the sideboards, and you see it in basketball where they kind of it was like a rolling thing. It would roll down and change the sign here and there, because they're trying to get a certain amount. That when they're selling these, they're trying to get a certain amount. Who is the guy I see standing on the Metrolink platform during interviews for Facebook? That I don't know. I'm not sure, David. I don't see that. So you'll see that. What they're doing is trying to get that airtime, right? That airtime for the advertisers. I don't have a problem with it. I think one of the issues with it is the background is mainly white, and because the ice being white and the puck being black, that glare takes away from the puck a little bit. I wish they wouldn't do it as often. I do like that they changed the boards. I wish that it would be from play to play, not during play.
I agree.
Whistle to whistle, right? If you switch them on whistles, great. Now, you might not get, you might get a period where they play 10 straight minutes without a whistle. I mean, it happens. But that's so much better than changing the ads out, right? The one ad that I don't like, there is one ad on TV that I do not like. And I didn't realize that it was just on TV. It took me a while to realize that it was just on TV. It's the one they put up behind the goalie.
Yeah, that big sign thing. Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
It's just stupid. Hey, I want to say something.
Yeah.
You remember when they started having the ads on the jerseys? And I told people, I said, jerseys you buy at Scott Trade will have that Stifle ad on it. No, it won't. No, you're going to have that. No, it won't. And 90% of the people in the stands have those jerseys that say Stifle on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. They absolutely do. It's a selling point.
Yeah. People told me that I was wrong. And there's also rumors they're going to add another one on the other shoulder. So
that I don't see yet.
That's what they're saying. In a couple of years, if this continues to be a good revenue source,
I might have one of the new ones. I might have a Stifley jersey. I don't know. I think I bought one the last time I was home, but I can't remember. No, when I bought the yellow one, I think I bought one. The
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think my reverse retro yellow one has the Stifley on it.
The one I got didn't.
Yeah. Well, if you bought the Fanatics one, that one didn't. If you bought the Adidas one, that one did.
No, I have an Adidas one without it.
Oh, I don't know how you got that.
I do. I won't buy a Fanatics jersey. And you know why? The reason I will never buy a Fanatics jersey is everybody you tell me I would buy sometimes a knockoff jersey, and they get on to me. I'm like, I can afford $50 for a jersey, but I can't afford $200, $179 for a jersey. And what these people don't understand is Fanatics, all their jerseys are made in the same factories as the knockoff jerseys are made at. The exact same factories, and they pay very little money for them. And Fanatics quality control is terrible.
Yeah,
it was a terrible decision.
They're going to be the only jersey starting next year.
A terrible decision. And you know why? Because they gave the cheapest price to the NHL. That's exactly why.
Well, no, they gave the most expensive price.
No,
remember they pay the NHL for the rights. They had to pay the most to get the rights.
I know, but the Blues, but the teams pay for those jerseys. They're not free. They don't just get those jerseys for free.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. they have to pay for those jerseys.
Uh,
I think we were frustrated before
Yep.
the break because we were playing good hockey. We just didn't have the energy to close out games.
so I don't. First of all, sooner or later, our jerseys were going to go to a European style jersey. It was going to happen.
I won't buy one. I will not buy one.
In some way, it's so. I've seen this. I lived in Japan for a while, and I saw it. I first saw it on the. It like drove me crazy. The baseball teams in Japan's baseball team, baseball league. Some of the teams are actually named for the companies that own them.
Yep.
Right? Like, for example, the most famous team, and I'll ask, who is the most famous team in Japan baseball?
The Tokyo, I forget their names.
You're close. You're close.
I can't remember the names.
It's the same name as one of the teams in our league.
I can't think of it now because I haven't watched.
Come on, someone's got to know it.
I haven't watched Japanese baseball in years.
It's the same name as a team on the West Coast. It's the same name as the team on the West Coast.
It's not the Kings.
Huh?
It's not the Kings.
No. In baseball. In baseball.
Oh, isn't it the Giant?
Giants.
Giants, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They're not actually the Tokyo Giants. They are the Yomiuri Giants.
Yeah.
And Yomiuri is the company that produces the Japan Times.
Yep.
Right? They are actually the Yomiuri Giants. Has the Blues logo ever changed? Yes. Yes, it has. A couple of times. Right? A couple of times it has changed. There's been different versions of the BlueNote itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some different versions of this. The one change that I've liked the most is this one.
I love, you know what? When they released that game that night, that's when I had club season tickets. I went back and bought a jersey, and everybody kept coming up to me. Where'd you get that? How much was it? That was everybody's favorite jersey.
Yeah. This is what I want the Winter Classic to be in white.
That'd be cool.
In cream, put this in cream, or if they let them go red and blue, not this blue, but Winter Classic blue.
Yeah.
Right? The Winter Classic, that powder puff baby blue. Oh, that would be so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so sweet. Something closer along these lines.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Obviously, this is a special jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But that would just be out there, man. Jason says, great show. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Lance, for coming on. We got to go alien on the Predators tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game. I think it's going to be good. I think that the Blues understand the importance of tomorrow more than anything else. This is not only is it a division game. So look at this. What's connected to tomorrow's game? First and foremost, division game, right? Second, rivalry game, right? Third, standings game, playoff atmosphere, and then an afternoon game at that, or late matinee game, right? You put all that together, and this has got the makings of a fight. This has got the makings of a fight. You look at the Blues just beating the Oilers, and then the Preds just getting trounced by Dallas. Is Blaze in that? I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't think he's going to be in. I think Alexandrov is going to get a couple of games.
Yeah, Blaze. When they got Blaze in that trade, you know what wouldn't have happened if Bannister would have been coach. Berube's the one that wanted that.
There is one player that Berube wanted that has done better than I expected him to do.
Who's that?
Sundqvist. All right?
Yeah, but he's not a permanent solution. I mean, he's just...
No, he's not, but I would give him another year on the fourth line to as you bring guys up. My
problem is they put him on the second power play line, and I think that's just stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That's
I
just
don't think he
stupid.
should be on there. But Saad's been absolutely junk.
Yeah, but you know his offensive ability, even if he's junk, is much better than Sundqvist.
Yeah. Right. I think Blaze is sitting for a few as a message. It might be, but Alexandrov hasn't come up and done that great. Oh, what I love! I saw somebody's older post about Gadet. I don't know why they haven't brought Gadet. I don't know why we're not talking about
because he's a lot. He's an AHL type player. It's like no, it's like people in the Oilers. They want Gagne up. You know, they signed Gagne before the season started. A veteran. I think he's 34 years old now. Sam Gagne, and people don't understand why he's not on the top line and why he's in the AHL. It's because they're not the players they used to be. There's guys that like Walker. He spends time in the AHL, comes into the NHL, and those just are those type of guys. Walker can give you 8, 10, 12, 15 games, and if he needs to go down to bring somebody else up, he can. There's guys that are full-time NHL players, and then there's guys that will switch between the AHL and NHL. That's just the way it is.
I think Walker's playing himself into a permanent position on the Blues. Walker is playing himself, and it's not offensively, it's his overall game. You look at him going out there every game, like, and especially for a smaller player, and you look at some of the guys that we coming up. I want to think either Bolduc or Dean, one of them is a smaller player, right?
I thought they were all around 6 foot.
I thought one of them was a smaller player. But, well, you got Prunovich too, right? So Walker's job is to show these little guys how to play. And he's doing that. I'm telling you, I pair him to David Eckstein. Nope, not doing it. Hell, I wouldn't take $2,000 for my one hat. I think there was a joke, but I wouldn't have taken it even if the guy sent me the $2,000.
That's 200.
Yeah, I know, but I was just saying. Depends on management. I keep him, but I don't write the checks. Yeah, I get it. Well, guys, it was a great doing the show. Hour and 10 minutes. I think that's more than enough. I'm kind of talked out. Lance, thanks for coming on and joining me tonight. We had a good show. Looks like we might have picked up a new fan. That's great.
That's good.
Right, enjoy it. So, guys, have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow, 11:30 Hawaii Standard Time, which will be 3:30 St. Louis time. Come on, guys. Let's watch the game together. You have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Or, yeah, I guess you could call 4 o'clock afternoon, right?
Mm.
The Navy considered afternoon from noon until sunset.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then it was night. So we'll call it tomorrow afternoon. You guys have a great one. Lance, have a good one. Thanks for joining me again on the BlueNote Fan Report. Always, as always, Bud. We love you on here. What do we say, Leia?
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Boys?
Who are you Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
That's right.
Who are you Blues fan? We're bleeding.
Again. We're bleeding blue with you. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow on the BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha.